not gonna say a prayer or anything?
Not normally. It's just a workshop.
Don't run that ball at once.
I was just thinking, you want my name?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Turn the fire down.
Ooh, yeah, it's kind of getting warm. We got that, what was it, 500,000 for precinct 3 for Magnus.
Right.
Has he gotten in touch with any of y'all, how that's gonna be spent?
Well, I mean, that'll be throughout the whole precinct,
Right,
so, no.
no, okay.
He hasn't
I'm
let us
gonna-
know anything.
All right, then I'll go ahead and talk to him then, when I see him tomorrow. All right, thank you.
Go ahead, sir, just,
Okay, I'm just gonna stand up, I'm not gonna go to the podium. Can everybody hear me?
yes.
Okay. Well, I was just wanting to know kind of where we're standing on the city ordinances. I mean, I know we've got them in place, but it's, you know, it's kind of like having a boat but no oars if you don't, you know, we don't enforce them and try to start taking care of some of this stuff. I mean, I've got people that come through town and say, what is going on with Ladonia? I came up here 10 years ago and it was, you know, it was getting bad, but now it's real bad. So I just say, well, I don't know. I explained to out-of-towners that we're working on it. You know, it's getting embarrassing to where I have to continually say that. So if the council would please work, I know y'all work hard at it, but if you would try a little harder if you can. I know we don't have a whole lot of money, but it don't take a whole lot of money to say, hey, clean your place up. So I'll leave it with that.
We did have an ordinance workshop planned, and it got postponed because of the weather, so
Oh, okay.
that will have to be put back on the agenda to set a new date.
Thank you, Greg. That's steps in the right direction.
My name's Monty Fagley. Along those lines, will the city have to employ a code enforcement officer?
At some point, probably.
Okay. One other question, and I'm sorry I'm late to the party on, since the lake's come in, or going to come in. Do we have any projections on the amount of revenue that will be generated for the city from water sales from that lake?
We don't get anything from the water sales,
None.
none.
We have to build a treatment plant first and a pump station.
To sell it to Dallas, we don't get any of the money off any of the
No.
water that goes to the DFW area.
Right.
We have a commitment for 5% of the firm yield of the lake for our use, correct?
If you have a pump
Yeah.
Up
station,
to, yeah, up to.
Okay, so if we could get 1 cent per treated gallon of 1.5 million gallons of water per day, how much money is that? That's $15,000. You know what kind of a bond program you could put together with $15,000 a day?
But we have to get the agreement between us and Upper Trinity to do that.
That's in the agreement. 5% of the firm yield is in our current agreement.
Yeah, but that is, we have to do something with it.
They won't do it.
Well, so what is a proposal to do something with it?
You know
I mean,
what a bond election is, right?
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm just saying, that would have to be put into the bond election as to treatment plant.
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
All right,
Yeah.
that would be the proposal.
and a pump house, and a pump.
Yeah.
So $15,000 of revenue per day for
Okay,
1
so
cent.
so that's my
of
question.
1.5 million gallons.
We can either use it or sell it.
No,
Right.
No,
No.
we cannot.
It's in the contract, guys. I got a copy if you want it.
Okay, yeah, I'd like to have a copy of that if possible.
Well, along those lines, I think that without some type of action with us, people won't live here.
Right.
That's simple, it's that simple. People will move to Honey Grove. And
Don't gap, yeah.
And I think we had a planning and zoning meeting also scheduled, got postponed due to the weather. And I think some of these things will happen once that gets started. We had one months and months ago, haven't had one since. We should have been having them every month, but we didn't. So that is something that's got to start happening.
it does. I agree with you.
Mr. Randy, did you want to speak?
Yeah, no, my name's Randy Romack, and honestly, I just come out here to meet y'all because I've certainly seen what is about to happen. I'm an engineer. I'm a civil water pump station and treatment plant engineer.
All right.
So I was just honestly coming out to listen to your meeting and see what needs there were, and if there was people or things in my network that honestly may be able to help. So wasn't intended on speaking, but I'm glad to introduce myself. So it's Randy Romack, R-O-M-A-C-K, and the company I'm with, like I said, out of Dallas, is Carollo, C-A-R-O-L-L-O Engineers. So this is what we do. Our company only does all things water. So we don't do schools or bridges or roads or anything like that. We just do water. So
Were you invited here to this meeting tonight, Randy?
No ma'am, I just came here on my own accord.
Well, thank you for coming, because we need somebody.
Yeah, we need all the help we can get, especially people with this expertise in this field. Because we don't know.
So I was telling somebody, I was born and raised in the rural part of Illinois in a community this size, so this feels like home to me, to be honest with you. But actually I was at a seminar just last week, in fact, and one of the things they were talking about is a lot of grants and monies available to communities of this size. Don't know how that applies, don't know who I should talk to or help try to get some things connected, but there are monies available, and there's a lot of grant monies that are available as well. So I'm not sure if someone has investigated that, dug into that, or if they're advising you on those kinds of things, but there's real money out there. So
And we need that. People right there, so you can.
Okay, I wanted, Mary Davis, but I wanted to ask about these houses, these old falling down houses. Used to, when the fire department would go around, I thought they used to burn them, like with a structured fire. But I don't know if we do that anymore, but can we not?
You can, my understanding is you can, as long as the fire department goes in and strips out any products that would be against EPA regulations to be burned.
Yeah, can't burn anything toxic or hazardous.
So have y'all thought about that?
Well, we really haven't talked to the fire department much, but probably need to about some of that stuff. First thing, the houses, if they're condemned, you have to, I mean, there's a lot of paperwork involved, but or the persons have to, you know, be willing to allow it to be done. So, and some of them might be okay with it. You know, they don't want to take the responsibility of having to do it. So, you know, if they'll go in there and do it. So.
Sorry, one more in relation to that, Mary.
Okay, go right ahead.
One thought I had, and I know we did it, I lived in Whitewright previous to this. The code enforcement officer would tag the houses if they've been sitting for so long and they're in a certain state of disrepair. They would tag them if the owners did not either raise the house or show a significant effort to rehab the house for either sale or rent, then after a certain amount of time, which is an arbitrary number, the city would pay to have the house raised. Once that was done, they would bill the owner. If the owner did not pay it, the city would take ownership of the lots and sell those. One thing though, when you start getting into sending violations out like that, we run into a possible issue of selective enforcement. So if we're gonna enforce one ordinance, we better be ready to do all the rest of them.
I agree, 100%.
And this was brought up about 3 years ago about that happening around here and never had.
It's a slippery slope, you know, if everybody's not on board,
Well, it
because
was started, but the code enforcer that we thought was gonna help us, he backed out.
Yes.
And so, I mean, it had initially been, you know, discussed and started, but the guy, he got over busier than what thought he was gonna be, and so he kinda backed out of helping us.
there's a lot of work here.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You know, there is.
But I think some of these houses, the people are deceased, and I don't know if there's any heirs or not.
Okay, I'm gonna speak. When we gripe about the houses, Mary, and I do too, believe me, I get it every day from the route, especially on 34. That's terrible. But it's not the cities. That belongs to Magnus. Complain to him, not the road carrier.
Where are we talking about?
34, Biggins Place.
Is that where the trailers are?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's out of the city limits. We can't do anything about that. Magnus can and should.
Yeah, he needs to.
They are working at it. They're trying to put new,
You can call the county
ordinances in for the county on that.
sheriff, ask him to check into it too. That would help. But if we all do it, the more people that do it, the more it stands out and they'll get on it. They have a lot, and they are shorthanded, I know that. But when spring is coming, and when we all do things around our houses, Morris had brought this up to me a long time ago, to go around to elderly places. We have North Wilson. I don't know why people on Highway 50, and I've seen them do it myself, dump couches, chairs, mattresses on that road. That used to be a beautiful road, did it not? I used to have people that lived down that road. And now it's just become a junk road. It's sad. It's ridiculous. But we all have trucks. I know all of us don't have a back like we used to. I don't either. But if we would all get together like the Chamber of Commerce does on the square, just the square, let's do the right side roads. Let's mow like Gertie Wright's house. Let's pick up her place. You know, let's do that. What's his name? Singleton's house. What's his name? In the wheelchair. Your brother-in-law. Can't
He's
think.
not in a wheelchair.
No, by him.
Oh.
I can't think of their name. But
Oh, Jay.
yeah,
Jay,
he's
yeah,
in a
Armstrong.
wheelchair. You know, his place needs help. Trash, we can pick it up. What you said, people coming in town and saying, what's going on? We all care for each other in one way or another.
We do.
So let's do something like that on a Saturday once a month. Or, let's not do Saturday because I have to work. Let's do Saturday afternoon after 2 o'clock, you know, and let's do that. Let's all get together and just focus on one street. We all have lawnmowers, we all have weed eaters.
So would we have to get permission, or would it be a liability?
You knock on the door,
And you
like
ask,
I do when I feed them or give them food. Like Ray's house next to me, I mowed it for I don't know how long. You know, right now he's in the hospital, not doing real great. His house, his place needs picked up. You know, Jimmy just had that massive heart thing, so I haven't been able to do anything to his house. But honestly, we all need to help. Gloria's house is vacant. I don't know if y'all know who owns it, but it's a mess. Right there on that corner, coming around the corner. People from Wolf City see it, you know? I don't know who owns it, but let's do something with that. Let's all just take a Saturday and do it, or a Sunday, or Sunday afternoon.
I'm up for that.
I think everyone knows I'm Janice. But I've been listening to all the concerns, and I have concerns of my own as well as everyone else does. But, and which is very valid concerns. Without any police department or city code enforcer, is it gonna do any good for our, voice our concerns like we are tonight?
Well, we are working on the police department. It's not going well, but we are working on it with the little help we have. We do get a little bit of feedback, so hopefully it'll move forward soon. Code enforcement is a little bit different. When you got ordinances that are so outdated that the wording on them is just, you know, you couldn't even use it in court, you know. That's what needs to be, you gotta get your ordinances together. You gotta get them to the attorney and let him sign off on them and do his little part of it. And then you can go back to, you know, enforcing them and getting everybody to.
Did you have a meeting with the code enforcement, and did you
That
already
was-
have those in place?
Do what now?
Did you already have a meeting to put those codes in place?
The ordinances,
The ordinances?
it got postponed.
Okay.
Will the city attorney be present at the planning meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
We're really limited on the days he can be here.
Sure.
So, we did try to plan the planning and zoning and the ordinance meeting for the day he was gonna be here. And again, like I said, the weather, you know, we didn't want him or other people traveling in the ice and all, so. Again, it got postponed, and it seems like every time something happens and we don't get it done, but we gotta move on it. I mean, that's plain and simple.
I've been hearing a lot of complaints, and that complaints are easy, but I would like to give some attaboys. Good job on fixing the street up here where, by the school, where it was a good job, great job on that. I know the city spent some money on it. Good job, I'm glad to see that turned out well. I've been noticing around town, some potholes have been filled. I don't know if the city was involved or the county was involved, but whoever was involved, good job. I can tell a difference.
Everything helps, doesn't it?
I mean, things, I haven't been sitting on your hands, you've done good. Council has done really good.
Thank you.
But,
We try to make sure that the potholes are addressed, meters are addressed, are our two main things, and then the mowing and anything else. And at this point, we've been very lucky with the person we have as our person doing water, working for the water department.
well, like I say, I for one can safely say that I've noticed, and keep up the good work, if you will.
Thank you.
They were also very quick on the big hole there behind the football field.
Yeah, I saw what I was talking about by the school.
Yeah, because that got big, I called, they come out, put cones around it, and got it fixed as quick as they could. I'm glad, because I figured that the school bus was gonna sink down into it.
I saw Greg up there one day on his all fours with a tape measure. So, good job, guys.
Big hole down there.
Yeah, it was a big one.
In regard to the potholes, my mom lives down at the end of Church Street, the intersection of Fourth. The block, well, the intersection of Third Street on Church is just terrible. the block between Third and Fourth has not been touched at all in the past 5 years. It's one of the worst parts of the streets in town. I've been driving them all lately. I would be willing to give up, I have a load of rock with a lot of fines in it down there. I'd be willing to donate the rock to fix the street if we could get the city tractor to do that.
And which one do you want that to work on, Third and Church?
On Church
Third
Street
and Fourth?
between Third and Fourth.
There's only one.
Yes.
Okay.
block. Mhm.
No, I'm just saying there's only one hole there.
Oh, no,
Okay,
several.
massive.
But I have enough rock to take care of all of it. And if there's any left over, we can put that on the intersection of Church and Third.
And I apologize, but I'm terrible with names. Can you give me your name again?
Monroe Feiglin, Monty. I started using Monroe when I got into professional world. I worked for the DOD. Yeah, I worked for the DOD, and they said, no, you're gonna go by what's on your driver's license. So, and on the, and please forgive me, I know I'm coming late to the party on a lot of these discussions, and I apologize for that. On the police department, I don't know how far y'all gotten. I know kind of a backstory on what happened, but probably not the whole truth, right? A police department should be able to pay for itself. And I'm not talking about turning this place into a speed trap, okay? But you can sit down there. I parked in East Side parking lot some mornings just to watch the people coming from north at that stop sign.
Yeah, we
It gets
know.
totally ignored. There's kids that come down that street going to school every morning. We could pay, you'd have to write 3 tickets a day at an average of $250 per ticket to pay $5,000 a month for a really good police officer. And that also includes the cost of gas. Now, I don't know where we go. One question I have, and this is just something to think over, I don't know the answer to it, I'm just asking. I know we have the sheriff's department that pretty much handles the law enforcement. Do we pay them anything?
You pay them.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's part of our taxes though, right? We don't
Yes,
write
no,
them a
we
check
don't,
every
no,
time.
we don't write them.
Okay, would it be possible to have a police officer and pay well enough with the fines from traffic offenses to pay that officer strictly to run traffic and be our code enforcement officer, and let the sheriff's office continue to handle the more intense law enforcement, burglaries, drug offenses such as that? Or the day we hire a police officer and have a police department, do we lose the county?
You're never gonna lose the county, okay? The county, the constables, the JPs, all of that have always been involved. And I mean, just like right now, I mean, the constable's been here twice this week, or 3 times this week. Anyway, and he's got the whole precinct to work. So, the county was out there just a few minutes ago. The county does about the best they can, you know, they're very limited on personnel. We are trying desperately to hire someone. We have to have a paid police officer, period. At that point, he can hire reserves to also help it with that and all. We don't mind that. We can't pay what the county pays. I mean, we don't have the funding for that.
Generate the funding for it.
Right.
Well,
At some point, yeah.
it's a misconception that the city receives all that fine money as revenue.
That's true.
That's
That's
not.
if it goes through the JP, if you had a municipal court.
A very small,
Even with the municipal
Yeah.
court, which is what we did, we used municipal court, we still only get a small portion of that, the rest of it goes to the state.
it's intended to be punitive and not revenue generating.
Yeah, but, okay, so what, define small portion? Just a ballpark.
I'd have to really go back and look at those figures, because I don't know.
Okay.
But I know it's not a very big portion.
You only thing that we can afford to pay right now is $31,500. As of, let's see, October 31st, when they got their big raise, they got 40, everybody was, we were in line with what the others had. Then it went up to $45,000. I have talked to Upper Trinity to see if they would be willing to help us. At the moment, no, you know. But anyway, we are going to have, no choice about it, we are going to have a police chief that goes to, unless he is already a chief, you know, we send to school, okay? And then he, like Greg said, will be hiring who he needs to work with him. But right now, we were told that the best thing that we had going for us was, with the money we had, would be finding a retired person, which is fine with me, you know. But
That's fine, but for that kind of money, all you're gonna get is somebody that's gonna get you in a lawsuit eventually.
Well, we have to start.
Oh, I agree, I
Okay.
understand that.
And, you know, then we can move from there. But if we can get somebody in here and make some plans, you know, maybe we can move forward with that. But yes, we understand, you know, you don't get something for nothing.
Right. But I agree, a retiree is gonna be your best route.
that's what we're figuring out. And see, the only bad thing that is in this whole pickle is that we have about 6 months left, right, to find someone. And if we don't, then
It's a little longer than that.
you think it's a little longer than 6 months?
Yeah.
We have to find someone within that length of time, or the city will have to pay for the police car. Because it would be a thing that has to be done, because we haven't found someone to be our police chief. And, you know, we've got a whole lot of feelers out, a lot of people really trying to help us. And we're just hoping that something will pan out soon. So when you say your prayers at night, mention that.
I'll throw that in there. Thank you.
We will address this pothole issue for you immediately.
I would appreciate that, I really would. And all I've gotta do is just move it from one place to another.
We're willing to do our part.
Since we're on the potholes, you sure you getting mail?
Can I get in mail? Every once in a while.
He got stuck more than once, yeah. And he called me today and he said, I don't know what to do, Miss Rhonda, can I ask you what I do with their mail? They're gonna get mad at me. And I said, I know they are, but this thing they got him in now, it will not go up that road. We gotta do something with her
So the
road.
rock's not.
Because he can't get up there.
What's going on
Well,
with that?
It's
since
so
it's
light,
rained, it has,
guts, like
yeah.
gutters
Yeah.
going down the road.
And whenever they fix the ditch where he goes, cause our mailbox is out by the street,
Yeah.
then it's just mud. So he's been leaving it in Delicia's mailbox some, which is fine. But, you know, I understand he won't deliver at the house, but it's just mud. And ours is out there, you know.
Well, with the
By the
scanner, they
road,
can
or-
see when he don't stop, when he don't go down the road.
Do
He
what?
can get rode up after 3 days. So I turned it in last week and said it was because of the ice and snow. And the boss said, can you go take pictures of it on your off? I need 2 witnesses that it's that bad.
Mm.
So I did, and I told him, I said, if it keeps getting that bad, I will contact the city hall and tell them to contact you. Because the kids knew, and he don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But, you know, I just thought, I need to get a hold of you. So yeah, that road definitely needs, if he can smooth it out or something where he doesn't get so stuck all the way up to the axles.
You can't be the mailbox any further, cause it'd be out the
No.
road.
Your mailbox is gonna fall over is what's gonna happen, all this rain. Is our wells doing okay?
As far as I know,
Knock on wood.
yes.
Well, getting back to the water, you know, it would be a shame if we have the water available to us, but we can't utilize it. I realize that a treatment plant and all that stuff costs mega money. I'm sure this gentleman can tell you. But it would be a crying shame if we have the availability of that amount of water and for us not to be able to tap into it to use it as a fund, you know? But, I mean, it's a missed opportunity if we let that slide. I don't know how we would approach it.
It's gonna be tough to sell it to the other towns around here too,
Yeah.
because we gotta put our own lines in.
And the thing is, now, from the last meeting and even the Commissioners Court just previous to that, now we understand that somewhere, we're getting mixed numbers, but somewhere in between 5 and 20 years,
Yeah.
all the wells are gonna be non-usable.
To
So-
salt.
So then, you are going to be buying water from Upper Trinity. So, I mean, we're in a mess.
Do they know why? That's my question. Why now?
From what I
after these
understand is
leaks come in?
the sand is filtering in and causing them to get salty. That's the understanding I got.
I just think we've had this well for so long, and then these leaks come in, and now we can't use the water. I mean, come on, that's just like, that just says, this ain't right, you know?
And that, and also, I don't know how many's been to the lake meetings or whatever, but, some of this housing and junkyards and all were addressed at the lake meeting. And I guess that's one of the good things that did happen. They did push the zoning through. And so that's going to stop any more of those, or should stop any more of those from coming in. The ones that are existing, they're existing and something has to be done. But it shouldn't happen again within 5,000 feet of the lake. That's a long ways. So, you know, at least that part's protected. So,
Well, I know in Bonham, do y'all remember the AAA junkyard where you could go get parts off of old cars?
You know, 121?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That one got in trouble years ago. And he kept getting fined, that's why he closed. Okay, one of the reasons he closed.
Well,
And then we got also David Werman's place. You remember the old cars out there? Well, then he got in trouble. The appraisal district was gonna start charging him taxes for a junkyard. So if they worked with the town to do that, then these people would stop bringing all these carts in and use them for, I don't know what they use them for, but maybe that would ask the appraisal district if they can notify them they're gonna charge them for having a junkyard like that.
the Fannin County Commissioners Court just ruled that they were going to start working on that, of having ordinances against junkyards, but they're also looking at ordinances for garbage dump, because there is none in Fannin County. And that means anybody can come in and make a dump
And
yard.
start one.
And start one, so they are already working on that.
And some of these that are around us are getting pretty big.
Yes.
And so that means they're filling up, and they're gonna be looking elsewhere.
Elsewhere.
To start another one.
But they voted on it and they're going to be working on that, and they are very much aware of this one on 34.
Speaking of junkyards, we've got one at the intersection of McFarland and Cottonwood. There's a house down there, there's gotta be 10, maybe a dozen cars behind that mobile home. And 2 on Church Street where there's at least, there's one house there on the corner of McFarland and Church on the west side of the road that is, there's cars all in the front of the yard, junked up, used trailers, never get moved.
Well, the ordinance hadn't been done here, for your information, since what, 1975? It's been so long ago that they've been working on it, but they are not.
Yeah, it's not
It's
95, but it's been a long time.
Okay, 95, sorry.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Well, it doesn't matter, that's a long time.
Yeah.
And they're working on it. They are working on the ordinances. And they don't make sense. One place says something and another place says something else. They're just a garbage mess.
Can I change the subject for just a minute?
Sure.
What about an emergency siren? Like the tornado is, I know everybody rolling their eyes on this, but
We have talked to Ty, what were his names? The emergency management person over at the county. We've talked to him several times. He has tried working on some different things. I don't know if y'all with the fire department have done anything, nothing. We have the old one, but
Can't get parts.
no parts from what I understand, and, you know, so it's worthless. And they are not cheap. And the last time Ty was here, we talked to him and he was gonna check into it again, but there were no grants out there for that.
I've been to a couple emergency preparedness meetings for the state with that, and a lot of the municipalities are going with different type of emergency, not the sirens that blow, but, you know,
The
ones that
phones.
broadcast over the phones and that
Yeah.
type of thing.
The phones is a good thing as long as you have towers working. So when the towers go down, then your emergency management goes down.
Well, and there's also like the 211 system that would help call
Right.
residents and things like that, so that's something too that is in
No,
place.
I know, I mean, I understand that is a good system.
Yes.
I'm not taking anything from it. It just, there is flaws in it too. So
Well,
within
yeah.
probably everything, but,
I'm just saying that tower is not the only
correct,
resolution.
you are definitely correct. And we also talked to him about that.
Okay.
And that's kind of the direction he was steering us, especially for the lake. The system that they're setting up for the lake is gonna kind of be based on that.
On what? Help
On-
clarify it
Like
for
a
me.
code red
It-
system?
Yes, code red. It'll be per your phone.
Okay.
Your phone will give you an alert.
Code Red and the 211 system.
Yeah.
so
Phone
that,
being cell phone, or cell phones or
Cell
landlines?
phones,
Yes.
Code Red, 211 is a
That's the
landline.
landline.
Right.
so
They
how,
coincide with each other.
how much would that cost the city to get on that?
The 211's a state program. It's
Yeah,
in
and I
place.
don't think there's any cost on that on the
Well, that's
state.
good, that's good.
Yeah,
Not free.
I don't know about Code Red. We were supposed to be getting some information on that, have not got it yet, so.
Your
you probably
emergency
need to
preparedness
contact
in
them
Bonham should be
again.
able to, your emergency guy in Bonham should be able to give you
Right.
that information.
Yeah, I mean, something better than nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And while I'm talking, I want to bring up, while you guys are looking at planning and zoning, we need a park in this town. If we're ever going to progress as a town and be appealing to people to move here, other than we need code enforcement, yes, we need all this, we need police, we need all that. But we need, while you guys are shuffling around, repulling homes or whatever you are doing, can't we look for a park?
Well, we had one kind of set up and things went haywire on that, so.
Well, that's yesterday. I'm going forward.
I
What do you got?
understand, I
Okay.
understand, so now we need to move forward with
Move
that.
forward.
And try to maybe take that same scenario and move it a different place.
Correct. I agree.
I don't think it needs to be on one of these main streets.
I don't think it does either. I think
No.
it needs to be away.
I would love to see a park here, but on these main streets, and then again, when we do a park, we have to have the code enforcement for the animals. Because we got a pit bull right now on West Main that's pretty dangerous.
Well, you've got a dog shelter too.
Huh?
You've got a dog shelter too, right there on Main Street too.
Yeah, but
Pick
they
them
can
up,
only do.
Yeah, but they can only
a
take
little
so
bit,
many. I
yeah.
don't even know if they touch this one. This one's pretty aggressive.
Well, yeah, we need to do something
So
about
with
that as
the
well.
kids being out playing, we
No.
need it,
Well,
we need
if-
that too at the same time.
We can't let the kids run up and down the roads when there's dogs
And
loose
it's not
everywhere.
only a pit, there's a lab, there's
Yeah.
two,
I've seen one of
a little
them.
black dog and a white dog.
Yeah, on West Main. I know where you're talking about.
And a Rottweiler now.
It's a Rottweiler.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
And they're, I'm
Is that
sure
the
they're
one
good
that
dogs,
kills
but they're
cats?
very aggressive.
Well, but they're scary to kids.
No, but it took, I had a customer
scared me too.
yesterday, got out of his truck and had to lead down on his dog. I don't know, it was coming straight at me.
There's people behind us, but it was their dogs.
Well, I got a problem with the culvert
Okay,
at, Paris and Taylor Street.
When it rains, it floods it, it stopped up, and it washed all that rock that y'all put down
That right was.
okay.
for the potholes.
It, so at Paris and Taylor,
But it's on the north side,
the north side.
Yeah. And this
Um,
and then it goes through to Taylor, on down Paris Street.
I wish we knew, I wish we knew the plans that they had for that, but they have not let us know anything yet.
Well, the county buried it when they graded, the ditches.
Right.
It's like most of the culverts in town.
207 Jackson needs looked at again,
207.
right up from 207.
We can possibly get somebody to come out and clean that out. Now,
I
I
was
can't
told-
promise anything,
I
but,
was told it would cost too much to get the Honey Grove to jet it.
right. And that's why I'm saying I can't promise anything, because I don't know what the cost is gonna be.
What about the fire department?
They used to do it. I don't know.
They're probably short on people to do
Yeah.
it.
And if they're
Well, that's
completely
stuck with-
clogged, it's gonna be hard to blow it out
Yeah.
even with a fire hose. It might be considered, it might be, if we had a backhoe, it would be cheaper to dig them up, replace them with plywood or PVC corrugated,
Yeah.
and then lay
Well,
them back
the
down.
problem with that is if it's going across the road, then we gotta repair the road.
No, I was talking about driveway culverts.
Okay. Driveway culverts, a little different, but, we do have an excavator. It is a mini excavator, but it's kind of a mid-sized one. So we do have possibilities to do a little bit with that, but it is limited.
Yeah, you couldn't, I don't think
That's
it
what
would
I'm
be
saying.
big enough, yeah. Because that's what, the one at 508 Church, there's just a slab there on the east side or west side of the road. That one's clogged up, so it blocks up, all the drainage comes down the west side of Church Street, starting at Third, and it floods my mom's whole yard. So if we could, you know, I may have to figure out some way to get it done myself, because it's just flooding her home. I'll save everything. I've got a few more things, but I'll save them for the next meeting. I've spoken up.
No, do it now.
Go ahead.
Well, we get too much on our plate, things fall off the plate. So, and it's things that, there's no hurry. We'll talk about it later, the hiking trail, the old train track. I'm a member of several hiking clubs.
That lady right
We
back
could
there.
bring some revenue into town
She's over the.
That lady back
Behind
behind
you,
you.
it's behind.
Right here.
Ronnie, that.
Yep.
I can talk that trail with you if you.
Wonderful.
Yes.
She's on the
I'm on the board.
Because I know there was some opposition from certain parties when they first started that, oh, it's gonna bring in the wrong kind of people. Wrong. Hikers are generally upper middle class and higher. They're conscious of the environment and they would take care of the trail. And they would volunteer. I could probably get 20 people down here in a weekend to volunteer,
Yes.
cut limbs,
Yes.
clean it up.
Yes. Agreed. And
Be happy to help.
and then just know that one of my little projects with the trail is we're going to be putting up some. One of the projects on the trail is we're going to be putting.
Nita wants to talk, please.
Please let me talk. One of the projects that we're going to be doing for the trail is we're going to be posting signs, because right now it's illegal to drive motorized vehicles on the trail, and you all the time, I know everybody's seen it, people going up and down the trail in trucks, cars, whatever. And so with that, and the police will help with that whenever we get police in here and things like that to make it safe. So right now, I mean, I'm kind of torn on, drive your bike to Ladonia. Hopefully you won't get hit by a truck, you know?
Well, we could put H braces in concrete.
We can talk.
Yep.
We can talk. I can talk trail with you. But yes, that is an excellent opportunity to bring revenue to the town, but once again, we need the planning and zoning and things like that, so when they ride up into Ladonia, they don't see what they see now, you know what I
Would you
mean?
give me your name and a phone number, please?
And while we're on that subject, that was kind of the main reason I'm here tonight also, is to find out, I mean, we've got a lake coming in, beautiful, okay? We had a trail come through here that should be loved for the bikers and the hikers and everybody else. We've got a fossil park that should be bringing in tons of revenue, that's bringing in nothing. I don't know what the deal was, the water's so hot here that you can't stand it. So apparently there's hot springs here that's bringing in zero revenue. As a community, okay, I can't push this off on the city council or anybody else. This is a community issue that we've got stuff that other cities don't have here, opportunities. If anybody can secretly, however you want to do it, send me the reasons why the people who are preventing things from moving forward, because I mean, it always winds up being Bill or Steve or Julie or Karen or whoever that stops everything in the dirt when you try to do something to bring up your town. I'd like to kind of get a hold on that so that when I get here, because that's one of the things we want to do. We talked already about getting in here, and I'll go down and clean trails for miles, you know. I'd love to do something with getting a little building up here, putting something in town for the kids to bring their fossils to town. All you gotta do is bring it into town and have some.
What's your name, sir?
Joseph Rowell.
Joseph Brown?
Rowell, R-O-W-E-L-L. You know, you get a little shop in town with some guy that loves fossils, to tell the kid what kind of fossil he found. Sell that kid a book on fossils. That guy's gonna make a fortune, but he's gotta have a shop to do it in. I'm sorry.
Well, I was gonna tell you, through the chamber, like the other day, we had somebody here wanting a book on fossils and stuff, so I got them up here and I went over, we'll get them booked, we sold books and stuff, so T-shirts, whatever, but that's,
Yeah,
the
and
fossils
so,
a big draw.
but I mean, between the fossils and a place, a soda shop for the guys to hike up to and hang out for a minute, drink a Starbucks coffee or whatever, I mean,
There's a lot of opportunities.
there's a ton of opportunities here, and from what I've seen just from going to the other meetings and being real quiet, as I was told to.
Been there.
Is that everybody's kind of hinging, Ladonia's gonna turn around because of the lake. Ladonia's got more opportunity than this lake ever has, from other stuff. So if anybody can sidebar and give me any information on what we've lost or why we haven't been able to commercialize any of this stuff, it'd be really interesting to know. We're moving here anyway, it don't matter.
On that
You'll
note,
like it.
Are there any plans, I know we have the walking, biking trail going across the bridge, the new bridge. That doesn't come to Ladonia, right?
Not that I know of.
No.
If we could somehow tie into that from here, and I talked to the water district, the green zone on the north side of the lake is, I've already talked to them about potentially leading a crew to design and build a hiking trail through there that will tie in to the bridge trail that goes, I guess, almost out to Bug Tussle. If we get that done over there, tie into it somehow from the city, and then we've got this hiking trail for the old railroad track as well, I'm telling you, we could get people in here on a consistent basis. There's a lot of hikers out there.
They
just visit and bring their money.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we can keep the town small.
But we gotta have a nice city for them to come to.
There you go,
We
or
gotta
at
have-
least the part they see.
We gotta have some roads for them to drive on
Right.
and
And no stray dogs or goats. I really don't want to have goats climbing on my car when I move here.
You know, I know several people that have left this area, have lived here and left, and they say, it was the worst move they ever did. Now, I know, I laughed too. I said, yeah, are you kidding me? I said, no, there's something about Ladonia, there's a magic to it.
When I left here, right after college, I've traveled all over the world and all over the United States. I have an opportunity to go anywhere in the world and live that I want to, but I'm back here. This is where I grew up. It was a nice, neat little town, a wonderful place to grow up, and I'd like to help see if we can get it back there, because it's a shell of its former
The
self.
magic's still here,
Yeah.
it's just we have to look for it.
We've got to roll up our sleeves, and I love the volunteer idea. I'm all for that. I'm retired for a while anyway. I'm willing to help all I can. So if we can actually put some rubber to the road on that,
It'd be great,
I'll help all I can.
because we have a lot of elderly here that I know their houses look bad. Inside, it doesn't look that bad,
Yeah.
but outside it does, because they just can't do it anymore.
You have citywide cleaning up coming up too, right?
yes.
That might be a good time to do that.
We have a lot of beautiful old homes here. Lester Loftus, I don't know if anybody knows who Lester Loftus is.
That's sad.
His house was in sad
What did they do
disrepair.
into it?
And at one time, when we had the tour of homes here, that was
on the tour.
That was on the tour. And there's so many houses that were on the tour that, for one reason or another, have gone in disrepair. A lot of people move from the Metroplex or surrounding areas in here, and they get a good deal on these old homes, I think.
Yeah, till they
Till they
start trying to
see-
start
till
repair.
they see the
into
bones.
them,
Yep.
But it costs a lot of money to keep those old Victorian homes up. It does. And I'm sure Russell will tell you, he is doing one and doing it well. But we need some more Russells to come in and take these old houses and put the money in it and make Ladonia back to its grander days. And it can be done. Like I say, it's starting up here at Lester's old house, and there's hope. There's hope.
Okay, what is the EDC lighting? What is that?
That's an electrician.
EDC.
Some here,
Economic development, is it?
Do you know what it is?
I have.
I have no idea.
Okay.
But
if you wanna talk
Send
about
it.
it, it's
I
on
vote
the
for it.
agenda.
All that I can think of is one of the meetings we were at before, they were everybody was concerned about the lights from businesses coming in. and shining up to the sky and not having covers on them.
I'm talking about dark
sky.
Yes.
So if that would be something that the development committee, I guess, would be in charge of making sure that the lighting,
Well, we used to
Met
have
some
lighting
kind
all
of
up
code.
down Bond Street, but we don't anymore. The church still has it, but we don't.
Music. And we're there at 7:30, 8
You know, getting back to the beautification of the town, I've got some old churches that they need help, big time bad. The Presbyterian, I hold my breath every day I go by it because I fully expect one day to go by there and the whole roof be collapsed.
Is somebody gone back to working on that again?
I haven't noticed it.
I thought Debbie said something about that one day, but.
You have to be careful, somebody might be taking the windows of the sky.
Yeah, well, they're knocking them out.
Like the Church of Christ, or the
Yeah.
First Christian,
Yeah.
whichever
But
it is,
that's
it's not a
a
window left
historical
in that thing, it's a shame.
From what I was told, state of Texas owns it. So
So
you have to get 100 then. Either let that sign. Time, is this, yeah. Yeah.
Now, some of these,
And it's a pain.
the
They won't
Presbyterian
get back.
church
I've had
has-
several people try to
has a marker. Now, I know the state doesn't contribute as much as it used to for
keep
those
it up,
markers.
yeah.
But from what I understand, there's still monies that can be obtained to help repair the state marker.
Historical markers.
Yes.
Didn't they help us put the SNAP Center in there?
Well,
Remember that
I-
ramp that they put on?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did
Yeah.
that.
When Miss Thomas was the cook there, remember that?
Mm-hmm.
They put that ramp on for the elderly on the side there. I think the state paid for that.
Yeah, they did, they had everything.
Right now it needs a roof.
Yeah, the
In the
roof
worst
is
way.
what the main thing is right now. But I
Jimmy
think
Lappin and
if,
Taylor was the last
I know
one
we
to
don't
put
have a
roof on it.
historical society anymore. I know Debbie is probably the only link there. But, you know, it's worth investigating to see if we can't save the old lady out here. She's dying. And the Christian church,
Who's the high-
Oh, yeah.
it breaks my heart to see the Christian church do in the disrepair that it's in. They might as well have stole the windows because they broke them
They
out.
broke them out.
Yeah.
I think the floors.
No, they were
up there.
still in the windows,
Yeah, they did.
because I called the ladies that owned them at that time and told her
Yes.
that they were still in, because Curtis Pruitt at that time saw them, and they made a report. And that same day, Jan came up there, I saw them, there was a car, somebody was up there at the Presbyterian church, and we called them and held them there, and we had a big city guy working for us.
Yeah.
We held them there till the police got there. And I really don't know what, he asked us if we wanted to press charges, and I said yes. And I really don't know what happened after that.
The last thing I heard on that story, and that's been years ago, was they impounded the windows. Did
Maybe
you-
the windows at there, but they
Yeah.
never got the windows out of this
Oh,
church.
okay.
They
But
found
the one at
the
the
hammer
Christian-
and the screwdrivers they were gonna use, but we caught them before they got the windows out.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Well, that was just happenstance. All because they
Wouldn't
had
this
seen them.
church over here though, wouldn't it be, dangerous for the town if a kid got in one of those windows and fell in there? Cause I heard, I haven't never looked in it, always wanted to, that the floor has fell in because of all the
It had
rain.
not at the time whenever.
Shouldn't we put something like
Um,
caution around it or something? Because that way we wouldn't be responsible as a city if a kid did get in those windows to
Is the
get
city
hurt.
own that church?
Be better off boarding it.
Does it,
Yeah,
in
we
there,
could-
Because if you put a caution tape on, they're still gonna get in.
I think we need to look at who owns the property.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I think it's their
It's-
responsibility.
It's their responsibility.
Yes.
Yeah,
Rhonda,
because it's not a church owned.
No, it's an
anymore.
individual.
It's an
private,
individual.
yeah. And they took everything out of it and gutted it.
The guy that came in here as investor, is it Rupert?
Kenny or Rockle?
Yeah. I know he was investigating, or he
He
was trying
wanted this
to.
one or that one to make a preacher's sanctuary where they could come.
Yeah, he
and
was
stay
trying
a
to
week
get involved in buying
and-
that.
He was talking about something lakefront, that's what he talked to me about.
He was telling
He
us,
wanted my house.
lakefront too, but he also wanted these churches.
Yeah.
But he said he checked in on this one and they couldn't figure out who owned it or something.
He
I don't
said
think
that they
Rob
wouldn't
told
get
me
back
again.
in contact with him. They just kept ignoring his.
I don't know, I don't know if the Presbyterian organization still owns this church.
That's what he
I
was,
don't think they do.
I don't
that's
think
what
they
he
do
was
either.
going through, I think. And that's where he was getting,
Wouldn't the appraisal
Block.
district know?
It's a
Yeah.
historical. Hey, that's funny.
yeah, they should, but I don't think they do.
That's cute.
Yeah.
The appraisal
Believe
district
me, I
is
just had a round
really
with
messed up here.
Actually, it should be online, because I know I looked up the owner of the Church of Christ, or Christian Church, whatever.
Yeah.
It will be on there.
But the information they have, a lot of times is not
It's
even
not correct,
close.
yeah.
But I bet if you start sending legal notices from the city of Ladonia, that somebody will get back to you. Or they'll sell it
They
or
don't.
something.
Well, no,
They don't.
there's a house on, across from, on West Main. If you look up that address on the county, at Fannin County CAD, it takes you to the intersection in Fort Worth.
I know, that's cute, isn't
Send
it?
notices if they don't get back to you.
They're in the wrong place.
Well, I would like to see something, some wheels start turning on, because like I say, we don't have no time.
No.
Well, then why
We don't
don't we
have
all
zero
help
time.
the city council?
I will volunteer my
Everybody
time
call
on
the
that.
appraisal district and find out where these churches belong, who they belong to.
I'll take care of
If
that.
we have time on our
There you
hands
go.
to help these
I
guys,
actually know somebody that
then
works
let's
there.
do it.
Right, if they're not, then you just take them over.
Well, it's-
File on them.
like I say, I'd rather see somebody put monies back into it and restore them, or at least stabilize them.
Yes.
Mommy. Mommy. You know Mark doesn't work here no more, right?
No, my ex-spouse's sister. She still speaks to me.
What's in law, always.
But we're still civil.
I get along with her better than I did my ex.
Linda Irwin's niece works there though.
Okay. On the church topic, is there any law, I mean, can you buy a church and turn it into a residence?
Now residents
Well,
turn it into a church. if you
They
want.
took the Christian church, and it was originally owned by that guy named Bob that used to live in a great big house.
Davis.
And
Yeah.
then they sold it for $1.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. The only
So-
problem, I guess, with doing that is that sloped floor you know, because it's basically an auditorium
Yes.
floor. So you'd have to level that out
I
somehow
think
or
it's
another.
gotta be torn down.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it
Probably.
doesn't matter how it's zoned.
Mhm.
Cause it's got a deep basement in there.
I bet it's full of water right now.
Probably, with all those windows out, yeah.
Man.
And snakes.
It's historical.
Isn't
I know
the
there's hogs
Presbyterian
in the
church
yard.
over here Historical.
There's hogs that live there
Yes.
too, because I heard them roll out. Like,
At the church?
yeah,
At that one?
no, the one over here on Main Street.
Do y'all know that there's a guy that
And
went in there
Debbie
and
might
did
have a lot of
YouTube video
information on that too,
church?
I don't know.
And they,
She probably
it's
would.
on YouTube on how Ladonia's a ghost town, and it's encouraging people to come to that church to go look at it.
Yeah, they were trespassing.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they were, but I mean, he walked all the way upstairs. I mean, it was
Wow.
beautiful, but
He trespassed.
he's got a lot of views to bring, if anybody ever finds Ladonia.
Well, back in probably 1995, they had a town hall meeting sort of like this, and they got volunteers to join the beautification committee, and that group of women, there were like 8, and they'd all work on the planters and all that outside, and then they had one just for ordinances that would help go through all the ordinances and bring them forward. That might be something y'all think about doing, because I don't know how 6 people can do all the things that need to be done.
One more thing,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
Keep Ladonia Beautiful is, we've just started that, and due to some of my health conditions and all that, I haven't been very aggressive with it over the past year or so. But we do have a cleanup day scheduled April the 29th and we're just gonna do there's only a few of us that actually participate. I know, you know, you have too, and I know that you work on Saturday morning, so you couldn't. But, just, you know, so I think if all of us, it doesn't have to be with that association, but the thing I wanted to do about Keep Ladonia Beautiful was that opens up door for grants and stuff from the state of Texas and things like that.
Like replacing our sidewalks. I would love to see like Wolf City.
Well,
is.
usually that's TxDOT that did that.
That makes me jealous when I
Yeah.
go through there. I went through there today and I thought, wouldn't that look pretty up through East Main?
But that's TxDOT that did that. That was a grant from
Really?
TxDOT.
Yeah, but we've got that and
East
of
Main,
Maine.
West Main and Paris.
Yeah.
Well, and they did that on
Well,
34.
actually, remember, all Main was done when we were kids.
Mhm.
Well, to get TxDOT to help do that,
That's
they
been,
would do
what, 10, 12
34
years
because that's the
ago?
state
Yeah.
highway, or 50, but they
My
wouldn't go.
stepson works for him.
There you go.
Oh, fun.
And I know that from some of the trail meetings and things like that, TxDOT is looking for, you know, walking paths and things like that to help, you know,
Promote it.
communities and
Yeah.
things like that. So that's a possibility. So, but just putting the plug out there, April 29th, we have a cleanup day. And our small group, we're gonna try to do pots and things like that, but we can only do so much. We really, really need everybody. And it doesn't have to be that day. You know, if you guys wanna do as a group on a Saturday afternoon, knock yourself out and go for it. But just wanna let you know that that is there, and we would love to partner with everybody. And not just, you know, the few that we have, so.
The mayor